So now we've started to animate our Photoshop document, and we want to sort of adjust things a little bit and move around the space a bit more. So as in the last tutorial, we set ourselves to be in perspective mode. So this, you could imagine, is more like a working environment, I guess. And here we can see the camera and our document, Photoshop document, sort of pulled apart. I've animated a couple pieces, so if we push play, we can see one bit sort of moving and changing. I won't do it to all of them, but you get the idea that by selecting one piece, setting the time head where you want it, and in this case we're going to leave those elements and we're going to change them around. So we're going to push record and then move to where we want, so we'll move somewhere else, and then I'm going to move that piece and scale it up holding down shift so it's consistent. So now if we go back to the start, that two of them are moving. So we start to get the animation happening. So we want to check what this will look like through our camera that we've created. So if we go up to the top left hand of the working window and go camera, it now has that view through the camera. It might vary depending on what you're looking at. And if I push play, it's not so dynamic because we've sort of got a 2D view of what we're looking at. So what I'm going to do is go back to perspective mode, and we want to select the camera. So in our timeline we've got a whole lot of objects. I've got a group, so I'm going to just compress that down, and I can select my camera and you can see sort of where it looks like, and the camera info box comes up. So now I want to, I've got a lot of options. I'm going to rotate it around, so and you can see a little display comes up to see what's going on. And obviously this is like any other element that's in the timeline. We can actually animate that. So if I just undo that, set our head to be right at the end, push record, and I'm happy with it there, and go further down. In this case I'll go all the way down to the end, or I could just push that button there, and I'm going to rotate. Oh, it's a bit of a sort of 3D view orbit thing. So now I've animated that camera. So if we just go back to the start and play, you can see the camera moving with the other pieces that I've set to animate. Let's go back to the start, but we want to check on what that camera is actually seeing. So if we go to camera, and now if we push play, you can start to see that the camera is moving a lot slower because we've got that happening over 30 seconds as opposed to fewer than the other ones. But you start to get the idea. And maybe I didn't move it enough, but that you're starting to animate these pieces. And obviously you can have multiple cameras and you can turn them off and on and edit between them and all sorts of things. So what I'm showing is just the basic parts. The other thing I want to add is some go back to perspective, some other elements to my scene. So there's a library component, and there's a whole lot of automatic content, I guess. So we've got sort of solid things. So what have we got down here? Spirals. So if we just double click on that, let's see what happens. So if we push, oh, there we go. So that's kind of, you got a view up there. It's not very exciting. You can go through and find, we've got some behaviors. What have we got in here? So there's a whole lot of predefined, so edge collision. So you can have objects that will bounce around, so you can set these to two different things, so you can actually have pieces that'll move around. So that's pretty amazing. It's sort of got different elements in. So worth playing. So there's a whole lot of camera, so dolly. So here you can start to focus. So if we play there, you can't really tell on that one, but there's a whole lot that we can go through and start exploring and bring in replicators. So what do we got here? So some of them are a bit funny. Cubes dancing. So worth having a look through. Particle emitters. What else we got? Generators. Text generators. Numbers. So numbers are always cool. So if we want to put in sort of that, so if we drag that into our space. So now we've got another element depending on how we want to look at it. And if we select that element, where are we? Here, we can start adjusting how that works, and there's a whole lot of options. Obviously we can start to rotate that around in 3D space as well. We can sort of start how we want it to look. So now if we play that sort of builds up over time as well. So obviously that's not going to view in the camera, so we can pull that back in and maybe rotate that around somewhere. So if we go back to our active camera, play, so that's not even in the view, so we can perspective, so it might take a bit of adjusting. So if we go top view, so select the camera, oh where's the group, maybe it's in there, oh, don't know where that object's gone. So it's a matter of, oh there's our numbers. We'll just push stop. Zoom out. We'll zoom out. So here is our numbers, so we can pull that over and we zoom in a bit. Zoom in. See now if we go to our camera, move that down. I don't know if that's in 3D space, so we need to check that. Format, style. So some of the pieces will take a little bit of you can see there's a lot of options within that we can adjust. So we'll bring that down. Go back to the perspective view and bring him down a bit. So now we can start to see, if we move him out of the way, you can start to see through the active camera where that will be. So if we now go back to the active camera and push play, we've got getting our numbers coming through as well. So starting to generate quite an interesting environment.